Almost half of all dementia cases are actually preventable. Not 10%, not just a quarter, we are talking nearly half. The part that should really make you stop and think is that for most people whose brains are already showing signs of decline, they have no idea it's happening. The 2024 report from the Lancet Commission pinned down 14 specific modifiable risk factors behind 45% of all dementia cases globally. That means there are 14 distinct areas in your life where you can change the outcome. Today, we are going to walk through every single one, what they are, the biology behind them, and what you can do about them right now. If you want honest, straightforward health information, please subscribe and leave a like. It helps this channel reach more people who need these answers. We are aiming for 1,000 subscribers, and every single person who joins gets us closer. Hearing loss is the one nobody ever expects. Most of us write it off as just an annoyance, something we manage or adjust to. But the research from 2022 and 2023 tells a very different story. Untreated hearing loss boosts your risk of dementia by 50% or more. Here is why that matters so much. Your brain isn't a stagnant thing, it relies on input. Neural connections only stay robust when signals are actively passing through them. When auditory input drops, the conversations, the background noise, the music of life, whole regions of your brain get less and less stimulation. And the brain's fundamental rule is simple. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's basic neuroscience. Plus, there is a second mechanism at play. When hearing becomes a struggle, people tend to withdraw from social settings because it's exhausting or embarrassing. You stop going out, stop calling people, and social isolation itself is an independent dementia risk factor. One leads to the other. In primary care, this pattern is everywhere. Someone stops engaging, their family thinks they are just getting older, and years go by before anyone connects it to untreated hearing loss. A hearing aid isn't a badge of age, it's a tool that protects your brain. If you or someone you know has noticed hearing changes, talk to an audiologist now. The same applies to your vision, as your eyes provide about 80% of all sensory input for your brain. When vision fades, your brain is starved for input, just like with hearing loss. Here is a stat worth noting. Timely cataract surgery, the procedure to fix a cloudy lens, reduces dementia risk by 29%, nearly a third. The Lancet Commission clearly links restoring visual input to the protection of cognitive function. Two organs we rarely connect, your eyes and brain, are part of the same system. Cataracts progress slowly, so people get used to the poor vision and think it's normal. It isn't. It's a treatable condition, and keeping your eyes checked and treating issues early is worth discussing with an ophthalmologist. Now, sleep. I want to address a huge myth because I hear it constantly. People say, I'm sleeping poorly, waking up early, tossing and turning, but that's just getting older. No, poor sleep is not a normal feature of aging. It is a health issue that should be addressed regardless of your age, and it is arguably one of the most vital things occurring inside your brain every night. During sleep, specifically in the deep stages, your brain engages what researchers call the glymphatic system. You can think of it as the brain's nighttime cleaning service. This system flushes out the metabolic waste that builds up in your brain tissue throughout the day, including tau and amyloid proteins. These are the very same proteins that clump together to form the hallmark amyloid plaques and tau tangles of Alzheimer's disease. That is what Alzheimer's looks like under a microscope. The glymphatic system's job is to stop that buildup, and it only works while you are asleep. When your sleep is short or disrupted, that cleaning cycle doesn't happen. The toxic proteins stay behind, and each bad night adds more to the pile. Studies on living humans have shown that even one night of no sleep significantly disrupts tau and amyloid metabolism. Now, think of someone who has slept poorly for 10 years. Their brain hasn't been properly cleared for a decade. By the time Alzheimer's is diagnosed 20 years later, nobody links it back to those sleepless nights in their 50s, but the connection is real. You already know what a bad night does to your focus, the mental fog, the slow thinking, the short temper. That's not just fatigue, that's your brain signaling that the cleaning crew didn't finish their shift. Then there is the issue of phone use before bed. Blue light from your screen hits the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the body's internal clock that manages wakefulness and sleep. Blue light tricks the brain into thinking it is daytime, so it suppresses melatonin, the hormone you need to fall asleep. Plus, the stressful content on news feeds ramps up cortisol, pushing the sympathetic nervous system into threat analysis mode. Instead of winding down, your brain enters a loop of rumination, replaying worries and what ifs. And that loop doesn't just switch off when you close your eyes. What actually works? Science supports putting the phone away at least 45 to 60 minutes before bed. Progressive muscle relaxation, slowly releasing tension from face to feet, has a documented calming effect. Practice breathing with a long exhale. Inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 8. A longer exhale stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which manages rest. Start with the face, drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth, and release your jaw. The body follows the lead of the muscles. If you have chronic insomnia and anxiety, see a doctor or a specialist. It is treatable, so don't just accept it. Then there are your muscles. This one surprises people. After age 30 or 35, you start naturally losing muscle mass. Past 50, that accelerates to between 1 and 2% a year. By 80, many people have lost nearly half of their peak tissue. People usually equate this with strength or looks, but we have to talk about the brain. Muscles are an endocrine organ. They produce and release signaling molecules known as myokines. These molecules directly affect brain function, trigger the growth of new neurons, and regulate inflammation across the whole body. Less muscle equals fewer myokines, less blood flow to the brain, and a higher baseline of systemic inflammation. A 2025 study confirmed that sarcopenia, which is the clinical term for age-related muscle loss, is a root cause of cognitive decline, and that activity is the primary mediator. Translation: muscles physically shield your brain. A sedentary lifestyle raises dementia risk by 150%. You don't need a gym for this. 10 minutes of daily morning movement or 2 30-minute brisk walks a week is enough to meaningfully cut that risk, according to the research. The secret is regularity. Occasional intense exercise is not as effective as daily, moderate activity. You don't need special equipment, just stay consistent. Balance is another early warning sign that gets misread. Slight unsteadiness is often dismissed as a blood pressure issue or something vascular, but balance is controlled partly by the cerebellum and frontal lobes, the same brain regions used for coordination and planning. These areas show changes early in the course of cognitive decline. Poor balance and cognitive impairment go hand in hand. The neurology literature is very clear on that. Try this. Stand near a wall or chair, lift one foot, and hold for 10 seconds. Switch sides. If you can't stay still for 10 seconds, that's a signal. The cerebellum and vestibular system respond incredibly well to training, and balance exercises are simple, effective, and show measurable gains within weeks. The hardest changes to spot are the internal ones. I'm talking about visceral fat. This is not the pinchable fat under your skin. This is the fat packed deep around your internal organs, your liver, pancreas, and intestines. Externally, you might just look slightly heavier or have a rounder abdomen, but internally, this fat is metabolically active in a damaging way. It constantly releases pro-inflammatory molecules, causing what is known as chronic low-grade inflammation. This is a silent, slow, symptomless fire. It produces no fever and causes no pain, so it goes unnoticed, but over years, it destroys nerves and blood vessels, including brain neurons. Visceral fat also promotes insulin resistance, where cells fail to respond to insulin correctly. Insulin isn't just about sugar levels. It plays a critical role in brain function and protecting neurons. When insulin resistance occurs, the brain suffers too. Some researchers even label Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes because the metabolic connection between poor sugar handling and cognitive decline is that significant. The Lancet Commission's 2024 report actually added high LDL, or bad cholesterol, to the official list of dementia risk factors for the first time. Keep an eye on your waist and check your cholesterol. This isn't about vanity. It's about protecting what your brain will look like in 20 years. Now, consider the early warning signs to look for in yourself and loved ones. Speech is often one of the first, most reliable markers. When neurodegeneration starts, Language tends to simplify before the individual realizes it. Words that once came easily suddenly require a pause. Sentences grow shorter and complex phrasing fades. It is a documented clinical pattern where vocabulary gradually narrows over months and family members adjust to it without realizing a decline is occurring. If you or a loved one are taking longer to find words, trail off in mid sentence, or use much simpler speech than a year ago, talk to a neurologist. Next is memory, but it depends on the kind. Forgetting why you walked into a room happens to everyone. But frequently forgetting what you said 5 minutes ago, losing names of people you know well, or confusing the order of recent events, that is different. Clinically, these are signs of mild cognitive impairment or subjective cognitive decline. It isn't dementia yet, but it's the window where intervention works best. Spatial navigation is also key. GPS has replaced one of your brain's most essential tasks. The hippocampus, which is the part of the brain affected earliest by Alzheimer's, is vital for navigation. When you outsource all your navigation to a phone, your hippocampus stops getting that workout. Try driving familiar routes without GPS. Use your memory. This isn't nostalgia, it's active training for a brain area you need to keep sharp. For an objective look at where you stand, look into the SAGE test or self administered gerocognitive examination. It's an online standardized tool you can take at home. It can help you decide if you need a professional appointment, though remember, it is a starting point, not a full replacement for a specialist who can catch what the test might miss. So, what can you actually do to protect your brain? Stop passively hoping and start doing. Move every single day, even just for 10 minutes. Physical activity boosts neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, and improves blood flow to the brain. The myokines released by moving muscles provide direct neural support. Brains inside sedentary bodies shrink faster. That isn't a scare tactic, it is documented in neuroimaging. Protect your social circle. The Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest running medical studies ever, found that the quality of social relationships is among the best predictors of both brain health and longevity. Not just the number of contacts in your phone, but the warmth, depth, and regularity of your connections. People with active social lives maintain cognitive function much longer. Argue over ideas, go to galleries, have deep conversations. All of these are forms of brain exercise. Keep learning. Low education is linked to higher dementia risk, but this isn't just about degrees. It is about lifelong learning. Your brain has neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections based on new experiences. Learn a language, play an instrument, read challenging literature. One study found that reading serious fiction for 2 months resulted in measurable, healthy structural changes in the brain. Not passive scrolling, but literature that requires empathy, analysis, and focus. Read aloud, write by hand, draw, or knit. Fine motor activity stimulates vast areas of the motor cortex. It's not a hobby, it's neuroprotection. Also, address your emotional health. Depression is not a phase or a character trait, it is a serious medical condition that doubles your dementia risk. The link is clear. Depression raises inflammatory markers in both blood and brain, inhibits neurogenesis, and shrinks the hippocampus. Depression and cognitive decline feed into one another. Leaving depression untreated hurts your mood and your cognitive future. Constant low mood, losing interest in passions, chronic fatigue, and poor sleep, these are all reasons to see a healthcare provider. Early treatment protects the brain. Finally, quit smoking and cut out the alcohol. Smoking raises risk by 20%, alcohol by 30%. I want to stress this regarding alcohol. A persistent myth says a glass of wine at night is medicinal. That is false. That is a story promoted by the alcohol industry. Modern evidence based medicine is unambiguous. There is no safe dose of alcohol. Every amount does harm. For the brain specifically, regular intake accelerates tissue atrophy and ruins the sleep cycles that your glymphatic system depends on. That nightly glass is a double strike against your brain. There is a well documented case of a man, let's call him James, in his late 50s, with word finding issues and occasional confusion driving. He slept poorly, had a sedentary desk job, drank 2 glasses of wine a night, and had untreated mild hearing loss. Each factor seemed manageable alone, but together they had compounded for years. His neurologist found that treating even just 3 of these issues produced clear cognitive stabilization within 18 months. It didn't reverse everything, but it stopped the slide. That is the point. Early intervention changes the trajectory. After 40, brain changes speed up. After 50, dementia risk doubles every 5 years. The earlier you intervene, the more protection you gain. So here's the recap: 45% of cases are preventable. Check your hearing and vision and act. Fix your sleep. Keep the phone out of the bedroom. Keep a consistent schedule and treat chronic insomnia. Move daily. Manage your waistline and cholesterol. Stay social and keep learning. Read real books. Take your emotional health seriously because depression directly harms your brain. Quit smoking. Eliminate alcohol. If you see changes in your speech, memory, or navigation, run the SAGE test and call a neurologist. Early is always better than late. If this was helpful, please subscribe, leave a like to help the channel grow, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.